These fights are more dynamic than the fights we seen in Gaiden, that's for sure.
Close quarters.
Huh?
It's close quarters.
Oh.
In Gaiden so far, it's been long distance fighting. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are here for the second of 3 movies. My Conquest is the Sea of Stars. I believe we got set up for what this is going to be. I think by the last episode that we watched of Gaiden, and that was... They mentioned the 4th battle, Tiamat, is going to happen in 4 months after that episode, where Reinhardt encounters Yang directly. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the thing, or this is going to be something... Because after this, we have, what, like a 3-episode arc? Then the movie, which is apparently, as the commenters have told us, the first 2 episodes of the show. So I don't know if this is going to jump us forward 4 months to that event, or if everything from here on out is going to be within the 4 months, and the show is that thing.
Either way. It's actually a short movie. It's only...
An hour.
Less than an hour, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, technically, I think that makes it not a movie, but...
A short film.
Right. But I mean, a movie, I believe, has to be 90 minutes. That's why when you see those cheapo movies, they're constantly padded with stuff, like, in order to make them the minimum amount of time required. All right.
I guess we go to the board.
Yep. Where I have a board change log. Also pretty short. I added Ehrenberg, connected them with a green line to Muckenberger. I added Ulanhu and connected them with a green line to Bocock and Holland. I added Pfeiffer and connected him to Bocock with a green line. And then I marked Holland as dead.
I have a note about both Bocock, Ulanhu, and Holland, which may or may not change that green line, but I'm not going to say it here now because it's in my comments.
Yeah, I have a response to what I perceive to be your questioning of the green line, based on what I think you're going to say, but I too will wait. Obviously, you have to say your thing first. It makes no sense for me to rebuke you before you've even... It's not a rebuke if it's said first. I guess you can rebuke a perceived slight. In which case, it's still a rebuke. The intent behind it is how you name it, I guess.
Well then, let me start with my notes on the 3rd battle of Tiamat, the 1st episode of that battle. I'm not going actually by the episode number, whatever's happening, because we'll be jumping around back and forth. So, this whole battle was done to make the Kaiser look good. It is also interesting that a Kaiser reaching the 30th year of his reign is a rare achievement.
I don't know that they said it was rare. They said it was the 30th.
No, I think the narrator said it was very rare for that to be a thing. I was like, okay.
I disagree, only from the element that I don't recall them saying it was rare. But I'm also trying.
I wonder if I mean, it depends. I don't know what the life expectancy is in the Empire. It is in the future, and apparently they do have advanced medicine, I suppose. But unless you're a frontline fighter, it shouldn't be that short. So, and literally, the Emperor should have what, live to 75, 80, 90?
Well, Kaiser, as you already said.
Yeah,
and going back over the timeline, that would be the Imperial Year 455, that Frederick IV takes the Imperial throne, which is also the same year that Frederick Jasper receives the title of Fleet Admiral, and Walter von Schonkampf is born.
Yeah, but we don't know what age he became the Kaiser. That's also an interesting thing. Was he young? Is he in his 20s, and he'll be now in his 50s? But he looks a little bit older than that.
We know that him and Grimmelshausen were friends at a younger age.
But that could be a 5-year difference, even a 10-year difference, right?
Well, I'm not super concerned about how old he is. Like I said, I only took note of when he ascended to the throne. And again, he ascended to the throne in the same timeline as the... God, what do they call them? Was it... Not 4-7 Mafia. What were they? The Mafia.
Yeah.
Around the same time as they were active.
Yeah, not the 420 Mafia either. Oh.
Yeah, it's a year. I mean, I could find it probably, but my point being is that he rises to the throne in the timeline of the legend of Bruce Ashby.
But here's the thing, and the reason why I so go to age as well, because 30 years in power shouldn't necessarily, if all things being equal, 30 years in power shouldn't be a surprising amount, unless either your Kaisers usually take power at an older age, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, right? And so they're much older and their lifetimes will be shortened, or being a Kaiser is a little more, shall we say, hazardous to your health than one might imply.
I mean, if that's the case, then I'm sure we'll see it at some point. But the only concern that I would have over any of that would be the genetic abnormalities thing that we heard about before. If they're dying early because of genetics.
You know then.
Sorry, I had to scroll down through 300 years of history. Really showing the failings of the Alliance military, that they get informed about an imminent attack and deploy their fleets ahead of time, and without any enemy involvement, their supply lines are already crumbling and ships are lacking in necessary materials. It really feels sometimes that the Empire could leave the Alliance alone and it would crumble under its own bureaucracy.
Yes and no. I think you keep dismissing this, but I do believe that loss that we saw of that base, supply base, and that planet had a far more bigger impact on the logistics of the Alliance that it might seem at first. Because again, last time we were watching the sixth battle Isolon, they were having logistic problems. Then they have logistic problems here. I think that although we don't see anything.
It's not that I'm dismissing that. Well, I am dismissing the base. I'm saying that the person mattered. The person who was in charge of that base is the one that went missing. And then we hear the other guy saying, "Oh, I'm taking over this guy's thing," because so it's the difference of experience. I think it'd be if Yang wasn't he's not an admiral, but if he wasn't a fleet guy and he was a supply guy instead, and then having Yang go missing. Yeah. I think that's the point. But in this case, I am dismissing all of that altogether too, because we've had a long time since then, and this is a fleet action where I believe you could have set up these supply lines in advance because you knew where your fleet was going to be, and you knew where your stuff was coming from, and you literally just put your fleet out there and had no supplies for it, and then had to real quickly put that together. It should have been planned along with your fleet deployment.
True enough. In fact, you shouldn't even do a fleet deployment without securing your logistics. So that's just, there's that.
Well, I guess I should say this here ahead of time. I said it to you before we started recording, and the explanation why my notes are going to be so few is I have my giant timeline of events thing where I put a bunch of stuff there, but they don't collate to being notes. So,
my second note, again, starts with, so, while the Empire has strict controls on what civilians can say or do, at least in the political sphere, the Alliance has a free press, but in turn, the Alliance military is more than willing to lie and manipulate the press for their own ends, including massive amounts of CYA.
Well, I mean, taking it to the other side again, we have never seen any press in the Empire. I think here's the problem is I'm having a hard time remembering things I've said about neue thesis and things I've said about this. And I think I should probably just hold this comment off for fear of spoiling things that haven't yet been said. There are like 3 major talking points about the world building of Legend of the Galactic Heroes that I would love to spend a lot of time talking about, but certain things have to happen in the show for me to talk about them first, because otherwise I'm not going to have any reference to be able to discuss them openly. And I believe the lack of news agency in the Empire is a major element of one of those talking points, but I can't get there from here.
The next note, then.
Holland's perspective is that ships are too valuable to lose in skirmishes, so the sacrifice of one ship to save 9 others was the correct move. Essentially, one bad line from Lobos encouraged the escorts to bail from their duty early, and now Holland is reinforcing this mindset by indirectly praising the captains that shirked their duty and caused Fagin to have to sacrifice himself.
I go back to my last line because it was really about that scenario. I just see Holland as just playing to the press, right? Oh, he sacrificed, we just it had to be done, very, the way he phrased it, it was like, it felt more like CYA rather than an actual military truth,
I get
right?
what you're saying, but my problem therein is that Lobos says something in passing, and that gets passed down to the escort ships, who then decide
Yeah.
to bail on their
Bail
duty
out.
before they get there. So
Yeah.
Lobos's passing line becomes sorry, my brain just farted. Lobos's passing line becomes essentially the norm for what to do. So
Yeah, an order.
Holland may be talking to the press, but who's to say that those same captains who are getting praised by this aren't going to say, you see, we're not in trouble. That's exactly what we should be doing.
I mean, they're not in trouble because in order to admit that they were in trouble, and I think the narrator says something to the effect of why they gave medals to the crew of the destroyed ship, was to admit that Lobos had made a mistake, and by extension, the military had made a mistake.
Right? That's what I'm saying, though, is that Holland is the voice piece for this because, 1, he's the guy on screen saying it, but 2, this is the direct follow-up to Lobos' scene where he's giving the orders.
Again, CYA all around. My next note then. Well, at least Yang is willing to speak I don't know what I said, their minds, his mind, singular. Sure, it might be embarrassing for the military, but if they can't accept their mistakes, then they can't fix them. And you can say more. There's also talk about morale. Like, you don't want to say, "Oh, you're not backing up your captains and your crews," and that might be hit. But again, the problem is you might be showing up your morale right now, but if you're not preparing to fix these mistakes, if whenever the enemy notices them, oh, this is what's happening, and exploits them, that's going to be horrible for morale. Because people are like, oh, I thought this was working. Oh, shit, we're dying. Oh, fuck. Why? Boom.
Well, I mean, like I mentioned before, way back in, what was it, like the first or second episode of Gaiden that we watched, when Yang got the double promotion, he got a press officer to guide him through. And now we're seeing it from the other side where he's being guided through the same way, but not from an element of inexperienced guy who doesn't know anything. Now it's, this guy knows too much. We gotta make sure he says what we need him to say. Well, Reinhardt suggests a third date for the start of the war. We now have 641, as the narrator suggested, 659, as Yang suggested, and now 645, as Reinhardt now suggests. And it's on the thing here, let's see, UC 641, which would be RC 332, narrator suggests that 150 years before 792, that's when the war started. And UC 645, RC 336, Reinhard mentions 329 fleet engagements having happened over the course of 150 years from the year 795. And then UC 659, RC 350, Yang suggests in UC 789 that the war has been going on for, well, this is why it's vague, over 130 years.
I mean, it depends on what you could. Again, I think there might be different perspectives. Like major fleet actions might have started, so Reinhardt might be clear on that. But technically speaking, any act of successful rebellion would have been retroactively the start of the war, right? They escape. The Empire was like, oh, they build up a government, like, oh, we got attacked, but they're defending themselves, you know. So it depends. Could have been ground actions first, like an attack on a planet and the rebels, and then the alliance shows up to help them. Or again, we're very fussy on what exactly would constitute the start of war.
I'm not theory crafting now.
Yeah,
I'm just jotting down every time a character says it's been this many years since the war started, and I know what year it is now. I can just count backwards and jot it down.
This is a very short note. Holland is the very definition of a meathead.
I mean, he's the very definition of protagonist.
Well,
I mean, he has no idea that the camera's not following him, but for that scene where we're on his bridge, I'm going to defeat them all here, and then I'm going to go right through Iserlon, and then I'm going to go right to Odin, and I'm going to kill the Emperor, and he's got protagonist energy. In a very different show, he would do those things, and we would follow him. So the comparison between Yang and Reinhardt's experiences are contrasted here. Yang feels free to suggest plans, even float them up the command chain as other people's ideas, and gets praise for them. Recognition of skill and intelligence is relatively easy for him to garner. Reinhardt, on the other hand, only gets his intelligence and ability noticed in extraordinary circumstance. Otherwise, he's forced to kowtow to the egos and ambitions of those above him, keeping his mouth shut.
Which I think fundamentally goes back to something that I've been saying since the very beginning of how these two sides see this war. In essence, it is a war for survival, but from different perspectives. For the Empire, they have to they have to fight, not even crush, fight the rebellion, because if they don't fight the rebellion is successful. And now we know that there have been other rebellions within the Empire that happen all the time. So in order to discourage those rebellions, they have to continue fight this one, right? They're not really interested in winning the war at this point, but rather more like, hey, we got to show that we're fighting it. We are punishing these rebels, right? Because ultimately our way of life is better. For the Alliance, it's literally a fight for survival. Although I think now it has morphed into a fight for self-justification, at least for the military. Maybe not for everyone else, but the military. Like, we have to keep fighting this way to justify our existence. And that's kind of, so in that framework, somebody with good ideas, right, on one side, because, hey, we're not going to not look at what people are doing, gets promoted relatively quickly. While on the other one, which is just a sort of we're doing this, by route. It's like, we don't need a genius. We just need not to lose, right?
I can't remember if this was said in Die New Thesis or this, but I'm going to put it out there because it's more of a state of mind thing than any possible spoiler. Wherever I heard it, and I can't remember, it is the element that the Empire, it doesn't care about losing. The Empire is all about the glory of going in and winning, but they view themselves as so above it all that a loss doesn't really matter. Those rebels can't defeat us. It doesn't matter. But we go out and we win. Whereas for the Alliance, it's all about the defense. We can't lose anything. I mean, it seems perceptibly different here, where we're constantly, let's throw another fleet out there, let's throw another fleet out there. But their idea is we have to hold the line. We cannot let the Empire win against us. So
we lose it all.
I mean, just looking at the over-under, it's an Empire that is attack-centric because they don't care about losing because they can't lose from their perspective, versus the Alliance, which is defense-centric, even though they attack quite often.
See, I think one of the reasons why Holland's ideas, when I do have a note about that, seem attractive, an end to the war, right? The Alliance certainly want to win the war against an autocratic ruler. It's like we eliminate the threat altogether, right? But
well, there's also the element that
that
Holland is, like, as they say, is capable of destroying old tactics, but is incapable of creating any new ones.
No follow-up. Talking about battles, 329 battles in over 150 years. To call this war a quagmire for the Empire, or for the Alliance, whichever point you want to take, is an understatement.
I don't know if it's a quagmire. Just a constant ongoing border skirmish. I mean, if your neighbors are hostile forever, there's not much you can do about that. I'm saying it's not a quagmire because it's not an isolated event, or not an isolated event. It's not a my brain not thinking of words. Like a quagmire would be Tiamat or the Iceland Corridor, areas where we have repeated conflicts because they're the places on the border where the conflicts happen, and we just keep passing the place back and forth. Those specific spots would be the quagmires. This 329 battles over 150 years is the thing. This is like, if the president pokes his head out, we're going to snipe him. And that's why we're both on the list. Because I say shit like that. But I'm just saying, like, if you imagine that if both of your houses were independent territories and you're fighting, like, house to house, you poke your head outside and someone takes a shot at you, that's part of the fight. But if they actually hit you, the fight might be over, and that's the end of everything. So you have your backyard, which might be a quagmire of combat because we keep fighting over the fucking backyards. But overall, the war between you and your neighbor is just the whole fucking thing.
No, but it still will be a quagmire because both sides are stuck fighting this war and continue to fight this war. And like both sides, but particularly Reinhard said, nobody is imaginative enough or bold enough to, disentangle themselves from the way they're thinking in order to actually win the war, right? There's no real vision of how to win the war.
Well, I mean, that's what we got the last episodes where I think we even discussed previous. They're just sending a fleet out with no clear defined victory condition.
Goal, other than defend.
But, well, no, I'm talking about
the Empire. Well,
yeah, but the Alliance does it too. No, sorry, just to spearhead the non-continuing discussion about what this is, my definition of quagmire would be a battlefield that just doesn't go anywhere, and I'm not considering the entire war to be a battlefield. That's why I referenced before Tiamat, or was it the Dagon star system, or again the Iceland Corridor.
Dagon.
Yeah, well, I couldn't remember. If it was, anyway, whatever. We all know what I meant. Those would be individual quagmires. But I don't refer to the whole war as a quagmire. I mean, it's certainly a drain and everything like that, but it's the thing. Because once it's over, versus the Tiamat star system is just constantly engulfed in battle over and over again. We're wasting resources of the war on these quagmires.
I think it's a difference in scale, but
again, that's why I chose to define it, to explain how I define it versus how the definition might actually be.
That's your next point then.
Oh, I told you before, I only had 4, so.
Oh, well, then it's all me then. And this is another short note. Well, at least Reinhard gets an A at ass kissing. I say that. I mean, I know that he normally is not an ass kisser, right? And in the politics of the Empire, that's a a necessary skill either way if you want to survive, right? But the way he was like, "Oh, hey, Vice Admiral
It's
Musil, do you
Muckenberger.
have anything to add?"
Oh, sorry, I
Yeah,
thought you were
Muckenberger was
talking.
talking to Musil.
Yeah.
Musil, you have anything to add? It's like, I couldn't possibly. I'm just little old me. It's just
Well, this is what I
has no
brought up
real
with my.
ideas.
This is what I
Yeah,
brought up with my
yeah,
last point when I was talking about he has to keep his mouth shut
yeah.
and be subservient, as
Because
opposed
everybody
to.
can read his face. His face is going like,
Well, think
and
about it.
everyone's like,
Like, think about the
"What the
last
hell's
time he
wrong
was
with
on
it?"
the ship with the other guy.
Yeah,
Like, you didn't
yeah,
recognize it. Let's think about anyone looking at him. He's just pantomiming all the time.
yeah. Yeah. And everybody's going like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? You have a problem with everybody? No.
I mean, to the point where he's like,
Yeah. Yeah. Very exaggerated. Very theatrical. Talking about Muckenberger. Hey Muckenberger, you bring out the champagne after you win. But I
it's,
guess he realized.
sorry, during the reaction, I said, okay, prosit. And they didn't say it because I had that expectation from Die New These. That's something that they do in the other show that I guess doesn't happen here, is that they, not, what's the word?
They drink and they throw the
Yeah,
glass to the
it's
ground.
literally what prosit is, but you drink to your success, not for
Yeah.
your success. Or I know, sorry, other way
Yeah.
around. You drink for your success, not to the
Not
success
because
that's
of
already happened. Yeah, so it's what's
yeah.
happening here, but they didn't do the thing that I thought they were going to do.
Yeah. Colin, I agree that as a long-term goal, defeating the Empire is the only way the Alliance can be safe. But let me repeat this. As a long-term goal, not a thing that can be achieved in a single battle.
Yeah, I mean,
There's an old saying,
scale.
battles do not make a war.
Well, scale also just doesn't come into. He assumes that he goes in, gets to Odin, kills the Emperor, or Kaiser rather, that the war will be
Yeah.
over, as though there aren't a bunch of other people vying for leadership roles and whatnot. God, I can't remember. I was just listening to not to make this political again. I was just listening to a video the other day. It was about somebody was, I'm really scared of J.D. Vance. That Trump is a personage who holds everything together through, they say charisma, obviously just whatever. But whatever it is, it's what makes everybody just do what he says. Versus, say, a person like J.D. Vance, who doesn't have that, but all he has is the ambition that if
Yeah.
something were to happen to Trump, J.D. Vance would come into play, and without the ability to keep everybody in line the same way Trump does, totalitarianism, authoritarianism, it's the only ways that he's going to be able to hold on to the power that he wasn't able to get himself. And same thing here. Something happens to the Kaiser, something happens to the Capitol. People that have the ambition, but without the personable skills to hold on to it, are going to be the ones in charge now. And you're not going to take over an empire. You're going to create a bunch of warlord kingdoms that you're now going to have to contest with.
I mean, in theory, they're fighting each other. They're not fighting you. But whoever ends up winning that war eventually, if the whole thing doesn't collapse onto itself, then it's like, oh yeah, we remember that you killed one of ours. It's payback time, right?
I mean, the only example that really comes to my mind is Star Wars, where, the fall of the Empire causes the warlord era, and, eventually that leads to a new empire. It doesn't lead to the complete collapse of the empire.
Oh, it also does because the Republic messes up things as well. They're pretty messed up. The New
Yeah, as
Republic
per my
never really.
first note about how the Alliance is
Yeah.
just going to fall apart on its own if you just don't touch it.
My last point in this episode, and be theatric. I get that Reinhard is frustrated with the incompetence around him, but he really needs to chill a bit around his subordinates, or for that matter, everyone else, because he's so theatrical, right? He's like, "Oh, you're so stupid." It's like, "Oh, okay, we
I
get that,
mean,
we
he's
get that."
only 19.
True. I mean, I've said that before that he's very young, and so kind of
And he
shows.
might be like a bit emotionally regressed, so this just could be high school Reinhardt. This is Reinhardt and Kirchhoff go to the bathroom to talk about some drama-causing person back in the classroom.
Yeah, yeah. The third battle of Tiamat, episode 2. I think Bocock was counting on Holland going too far and falling into a trap. If Holland was as capable as he said he would escape and call it a win. But if he wasn't, then the matter would attend to itself. It does mean throwing away the life of all the people under Holland's command, and that doesn't seem to be Bocock's way, but still, I think it's the gist of the thinking.
Was that the comment that you said before back at the board?
Yes.
My retort to that is that Bocock specifically says it's a shame that the 11th Fleet should have to take the fall, or die, essentially, for Holland's incompetency. And he calls multiple times, like he tells them, keep calling him, tell him to retreat, and then even threatens to bring this up at the court-martial. So he is doing everything within his power to try and pull back Holland. So it doesn't feel like he's setting Holland up for failure and then capitalizing on it. It feels like he is doing his best and then still maneuvering his fleet, Ulanhu's fleet, and there's two other fleets, and I can't remember their name because I've already closed my thing. Two other fleets that must have been also operating, but the characters are unseen on screen, as it were, to not cause a complete collapse due to Holland's failure. So, again, my counterpoint to yours, that he's still labeled as green, is the element that they are still a unified unit trying to perform an action together. That Holland has gone rogue, essentially, does not make Bocock Holland's enemy. You know, it's like having a friend who's like taking a lot of drugs and whatnot, is doing some pretty crazy shit, and you're trying to get them off the ledge. You may have caused some of this, you may have given them the drugs. You're not their enemy, though. They're their own enemy, and I don't have any lines on the board that can express that.
My second note on this chapter. I don't have a lot of them left. Okay, that artillery attack looked cool and all, but that is possible. Why don't do more fleets use it? You can literally blast holes in the enemy's formations and push through them with relative ease. Heck, except for range, you wouldn't need you didn't need Thor's hammer at all.
I imagine it's an element of well, maybe two things. Excitability. One, every ship seems to have its own command structure, and they operate on a fire as a fleet, but not a organized thing. Like, there's no, okay, everyone fire here, everyone fire there, that sort of thing. Everyone picks and chooses their own target, fire at will, seems to be the order of the day. Whereas this was a massive, okay, everybody hold, fire at once sort of thing. And then the element of, God, what was the other point? This is also the element that if you open fire against the entire other fleet all at once, and not the artillery strike that we're talking about, just like you maintain a constant fire, you might prevent the other side from being able to do an artillery strike like this.
I mean,
You're
but I think
you're going to cause ships to try to evade, which is going to put them into the line of fire. Doing the artillery thing is a maneuvering nightmare, I assume, because we've seen people ram into each other without being damaged first. Because you got to imagine, it's not just a front forward line. You got to get all the ships in line behind those ships to not be in the path of the ships in front of them. How many deep? Like, I guess it is a complete setup.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, I would think that, okay, you have your fleet and then you reserve like a smaller fleet. I don't know how many ships are required. We were not told how many ships Reinhard's commanded this time around. 10,000? I don't know.
Well, he got promoted to vice admiral by the time of that, and then he's promoted to full admiral by the end. But so there's no 100,000. He had.
So what would it take to do a artillery?
Well, he had 1,000. Maybe 10,000. Sorry, he had 1,000 before. He gets promoted once. Assumedly, it seems like before that he had 100. So it seems like you go by magnitudes of 10.
So 10,000 ships?
I don't know. Best guess.
Yeah, so say it's 10,000. You know,
we know that there was 344,000 or something like that ships total at the location, but he was in charge of. Oh wait. We can figure this out. There was 6 triangles on the map. and then his with a seventh triangle pulling back. So I could divide it by seventh, so 50,000, something over 50,000 ships, maybe.
Well, in that case, yeah, you take that many ships just to pull an artillery strike like that, then it wouldn't be very feasible because, like you said, it could be disrupted. But if it's a smaller group, then it's like you put 30,000, 40,000 ships. On my third, this third is going to be my heavy artillery, and your job is to protect it until we get into position to coordinately strike, right? Especially as a reserve fleet, right?
I don't think the meta would allow for that, though. Well, just the element. Remember, like the missile barrage ships they tried to use at Isolon. All that took was ships coming in from the side. Or think about.
Well, that's a job of the other ships.
No. Sorry. Think about Holland's Advance too. They kind of formed a U shape around the front of him to start shooting at him like that, and you couldn't do an artillery strike with that kind of formation. It's very prescient on what's needed during the battle that's happening. You can't set this up ahead of time because you don't know what the enemy's going to do.
Still something that I think should have been used more than once.
Well, again, remember, this is Gaiden. This is the prequel stuff. Maybe it's setting it up because it's going to happen more.
It's something that it's on, what's his name, Reinhard's wheelhouse that he uses quite a bit.
Well, remember, cephalon particles are apparently supposed to be a big thing in the future, and we've only ever seen that used once in Gaiden.
Talk about Bukok. At least Bukok and Ulamfu stepped in to save what was left of the 11th Fleet after repeatedly warning Holland to stop his attack. That's what you said earlier. And my final note. The name of Reinhardt's new flagship, because he's with Brunhilde, that sounds familiar. And I did a little,
anyone that's
Wikipedia
anyone that's seen Django Unchained knows that because that's part of the story of that movie.
It's an unfortunate one, considering her namesake role in the Song of the Nibelungs. She's also known as a Valkyrie. Or Valkyrie.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong German mythology. When Brunhilde was the one that climbed the mountain, Brunhilde was the one that was taken by the dragon, and I can't remember the guy's name, climbs the mountain to fight the dragon.
Sigrid.
Yeah.
It wasn't Brunhilde. Brunhilde is a Valkyrie that falls in love with Sigurd. Sigurd tricks Brunhilde to sleep with another man, which was the king of, I think it's Germania. I remember what the kingdom was. And because of that, she's forced to marry him. And she's so pissed that she basically turns around and swears vengeance, and she's going to kill Sigurd because she was supposed to marry Sigurd. Sigurd married someone else. And basically that's the tragedy of the part of the tragedy of the Ring of the Nibelungs is that she's the one that sets Sigurd up for death,
Well, completely unrelated. But since I brought up Django Unchained, as revealed by Quentin Tarantino during the 2012 Comic-Con panel, Brunhilde and Django are both the great-great-great-great-grandparents of John Shaft from the Shaft movie series.
Oh, okay.
Well, apparently all of Tarantino's movies are connected together. Same universe. So I thought that was funny while I was looking that up real quick. Like, oh, I know I remember this from... I'm not up on all of my German mythology.
So, yeah, that's... those are my notes.
All right, well, nothing left to do then but to hop on into the movie and see what we get this time in actual normal animation, unlike Golden Wings.
Hopefully.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Whatever that said.
Oh.
Der Krieg dort Nacht, when the man schickt die. My subtitles are on, but nothing's coming up.
I guess it didn't translate this point.
It's weird. I tested this earlier and it did. Okay, maybe I just didn't get this part yet.
人類の歴史は戦争の歴史だったと言っても異議を唱える者はそう多くはあるまい。人類に進歩という表現があるとすれば、進歩が戦争という母体の中から誕生したと言っても
I've said that before. I think you disagreed with me.
Yes.
Most progress is made during war, though.
Yeah, true, but not exclusively by it.
I think because of it.
Interesting what they're doing with the statues, sort of filling the sky.
I was gonna guess that they are historical conquerors, but that one of them looks like the Kaiser to me, so.
その野望が世界をどう変えたか、それを評価するのは、その時代の人々に任すしかないのかもしれない。
Somebody in the comment section translate was what all this was.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of proper nouns in there that have not been said by the narrator.
歴史上に名を残し、世界を変えたいと野望を燃やし、人間の歴史の中に砕け散っていった人々がいた。
That's supposed to be Reinhard?
No. At least one of them looked like the statues we've seen of like past Kaisers, but obviously there was like a Spartan there and a bunch of other people, so. Oh my god, this one's 1,125%. Also, I believe we were told before that this was animated first, before the show itself.
It might be a bit rough, I guess.
Or better. Who knows? Well, we will.
Depends on the, yeah.
By the end of an hour, at least.
There's a Brohanda.
Which, again, was also a...
Actually, it looks pretty cool.
It's more advanced, remember? It's the test bed for a lot of stuff. An armor system, which we haven't heard before. It's a great way to say plot armor on a ship.
Yeah, I think they had a bigger budget, it looks like.
Well, just remember that this came out first. And then all of that Gaiden stuff came out after. But the way we're watching it, we went through like 50 episodes of Gaiden to get to this thing. I mean, they kept all the animation on point. Muckenberger here very clearly looks like Muckenberger.
血縁や縁故で帝国内の地位が決まるのは今に始まったことではあるまい。貴族の誰かがそれを言うのは妙な気がするが、どうかな男爵。どうやら元帥は私がお嫌いのようで。ではなぜこうやってお付き合い
Oh yeah, this guy has evil face all over and haircut and bow haircut.
To be fair, Lessons. It's the Empire.
That's true.
その時のためとでも言っておこうか。
少なくともあの大将よりは私を買っていただいているようですな。
姉とはいえ女の力で陛下に取り入り昇進したような男をどうしてこの私が歓迎せねばならぬのかな。そんな男は目障りだ。消えてもらう。
やりすぎは禁物。あの男、陛下のお気に入りだけに危険です。
だが少なくともこの要塞では私の指揮下にある一階の大将に過ぎない。違うかね。
そういうことでしたらおっしゃる通りです。元帥閣下。
I mean, it's just the position he's always been in, though.
Yeah. Uriah Gambit again. Oh, new third in command, I guess, or captain.
Well,
of the
remember
ship.
Yeah, he had to be the captain because we had that whole conversation about Kirchi's being the captain. No, can't do that.
あの要塞は空に光る星屑の一つにも満たぬ大きさです。
それを何十年にもわたって人々は奪い合っている。
ええ、何千万もの人命を犠牲にして。
終わらせるよ。
はい。要塞の戦いだけでなく、150年続いたこの銀河の戦いが終わるのもそう遠くはないでしょう。
Well, too bad, Kirchis. I already took a note about this year. It's 150 years.
イゼルローン要塞前方、レグニッツァーガス状惑星付近に敵艦隊らしき反応あり。
構うな。我々の目的はまず要塞に到着することだ。長旅の後だ。無益な戦闘で我が艦隊にいらぬ犠牲を出すわけにはいかん。迎撃艦隊発進準備完了しました。
それには及ばん。要塞から艦隊を発進させるより、現在航行中の艦隊を向かわせた方が早い。
しかしあの艦隊は帝国からこの要塞に
Also, would it?
長旅で疲れている上
Whatever fleet you launch is gonna be from here. I know, I'm just saying what he's saying.
No,
though.
because remember, they are arriving. They want to divert Reinhardt's fleet to intercept it.
Right, I'm just saying that any fleet that launches from here is still going to be from here.
Yeah. They haven't really arrived, I suppose. So.
スカートの中の大将の力量を。
いや。
That's a hell of a nickname.
というものは門に入る前に消えてもらうのが一番ありがたい。
緊急指令、総司令官ミュッケンベルガー元帥より指令あり、遠征部隊、直ちに惑星レグニッツァに向かい、敵艦隊を撃破せよ。
これが我らが要塞の私たちへの就任祝いですか。
お前だったらこの指令どう処理する？
答えは
Well, then I guess it might not be 4 months later. Because I believe the one that was referenced there was the 6th Battle of Tiamat. And this is a planet in the Tiamat star system that was never referenced before.
指令には従わなければならない。だが無茶な指令だ。何しろここに来たばかりで戦場の状況すらわからん。
犠牲を少なくするために適当にお茶を濁して戦う手もある。
お茶を濁して適当にか？やるかね、あの方がそれを。
それをされたら俺たちは一生言われるさ。スカートの中の大将のそのまた下の参謀だと。
I think Skirt Admiral was better.
挟まった参謀か、俺たちは。
大将閣下より惑星レグニッツァの詳細な資料が送られてまいりました。資料検討の時間は30分。緊急を要します。
God damn it, I'm gonna have to learn German again. I spent 2 years in high school learning German, and I did not succeed.
さあ、資料の検討だ。
惑星レグニッツは典型的恒星系外縁部ガス惑星。上層はヘリウムと水素の流動体が占める。
ヘリウムと水素？
はい。大気の気流速度は時速2000キロ。
Yes, a gas giant. You ever heard of a gas giant before?
兵器が使用不能寸前です。
文字通り手探りというわけか。いつどこで敵と遭遇しても不思議はないな。
はい。しかし敵も条件は同じです。
Rotaro Nebula.
I mean, conversely, you could just not fly through it.
Well, he has to engage them, so.
どうした？
今は臨戦態勢です。
まだ敵が現れたわけじゃない。
Remember, this is the job that Bocock had back in Bruce Ashby's day.
ああ？
戦いに
慣れようが慣れまいが同じさ。俺たちは時が来たら命令通りレバーを引き、大砲をぶっ放す。それだけのことだ。
初めてなんです。俺。
誰でも初めはあるさ。問題はそれがいつ終わるかだ。もっともそれを決めるのは上のお偉いさんだがね。
それ大丈夫かな。だってこの艦隊スカートの中の大将でしょ。
Well, this nickname isn't going away.
兵隊にとってはだ。司令官の過去や育ちは関係ない。信じられる司令官ってやつは戦いに勝てて俺たちの命を救う。
I guess, in fairness, any admiral that's been around long enough to have earned a nickname is an admiral that survived.
True.
なぜなら俺はまだ生きている。別の艦隊に行った俺の仲間はほとんど生きちゃいないってのにな。
Like you said, you know.
この艦隊に来た俺はラッキー。
戦い終わって生きているのが見えた時に初めて言えるのがラッキーってセリフだ。
I mean, he's certainly not the Bruce Ashby guy who lost to like every third battle.
命は決められない。司令官と上官次第だ。
Also, the background music is stronger in this movie, certainly. I like this. It's been more ominous.
まだ見つからんのか、敵の迎撃艦隊は。
それでいいのではありませんか。我々の目的は敵の目を欺き、イゼルロンに接近、攻撃することです。迎撃艦隊はこの際無視してよろしいのではないかと。
ヤン・ウェンリ准将、この艦隊の指揮官は私だ。
はあ、承知しておりますが、一応
Oh, this is actually 1980s animation.
危険は作戦を作る時だけにしていただこう。
Well, yeah, no shit.
戦場だ。いつも作戦通りに
Once we finish the Gaiden in the movies, it's going to be a 1980s show, too.
司令官がそうおっしゃるなら、私の仕事はもう終わったことになります。
その通りだ。経験の浅い作戦参謀の作戦と本当の戦いのやり方の違いを見せてやる。は。
Obviously, this guy is not long for this world.
Yeah.
As the narrator told us last time, it's going to be a direct Dusty.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. But they said it was going to be a direct Yang versus Reinhardt confrontation, so that guy's got to go.
給料分の仕事はしたさ。あとは高みの見物ですか。それもいいでしょう。もっともあんな司令官のお供であの世に行くのはごめんですが。どうです？
Preferably under no commander.
軍人ってやつはどうしてこんな無粋な泥水が好きなんだ？紅茶じゃないと気に入らないのはよく知ってます。でも今
Oh, right, coffee. He doesn't like coffee.
それも給料分ですよ。
I mean, man, I was like, what the fuck is mud water?
そう、飲まなきゃやっていられません。
同盟軍第二艦隊に次ぐ。全艦上昇し、雲海より出て索敵に全力を尽くす。敵発見次第、直ちに戦闘開始。敵撃滅に全力を投入せよ。各艦の奮闘を期待する。
He's like, I gotta take double shots.
How do they know the Empire's here?
Well, they're gonna attack.
No, yeah, their plan is to move on to Isolon and attack that, but they've been radar blind the entire time too, so they wouldn't even know the Empire came. Because otherwise, if they were in an area to detect them, the Empire would have detected them on approach.
敵艦反応あり。敵艦反応あり。
位置は
敵です。敵です。落ち着け。敵はどこだ。そこです。何。
Right on top of it.
目の前です。目の前です。
攻撃開始。敵艦との衝突を回避しつつ攻撃を加えろ。
Yeah, that goes basic instructions. Don't collide with the enemy.
What was the composition of this gas giant again? Hydrogen and helium, right?
Yeah.
So shouldn't any attack or explosion just cause massive explosions? Well, that's what I said before in the notes. Every fight turns into a fire at will.
今時体当たりなんてする奴がいるか。ましてあの司令官の手柄になる戦いね。
These fights are more dynamic than the fights we've seen in Gaiden, that's for sure.
Close quarters.
Huh?
It's close quarters.
Oh.
In Gaiden so far, it's been long distance fighting.
あの方は無駄などなさる方ではない。あの方は何かをする気だ。しかし今、それがわかるのはあの赤毛の相棒だけだろう。
敵味方の火気放射エネルギーにより大気温度上昇中。
大気が温まれば上昇気流が。
I don't know how it's not causing explosions. This should be the kind of environment where it's like every laser shot causes an explosion in the ship.
どうした？無風状態。戦闘の放射エネルギーにより大気の温度が上がったためと思われます。
よし、風がなければなおのこと戦いやすい。数の上では我が方が有利なのだからな。
風が止んだ。
全艦上昇せよ。急速にだ。
敵艦隊急速上昇。
逃げる気か。ここまで来て。
どうした？風です。強風です。風速6000メートル。温まった大気に寒冷気が吹き込んできます。
Oh, well, like in a plane, you know, you have a pocket that comes down.
I was thinking more towards like weather fronts.
Yeah.
上昇すべきです。全軍星の表面から離れるべきです。
黙れ。上昇すれば敵から狙い撃ちにされる。そんなこともわからんか。青にさいめ。
I mean, even from that standpoint, why wouldn't you rise up anyway? Follow up under them and shoot them as they're ascending.
なぜ上昇せよと。私が敵なら我が全軍を一撃で仕留められるチャンスだがな。この惑星の大気は何でできている？
So you're saying?
ヘリウムと水素、マッチ一本火事の元さ。
And yet, lasers aren't doing it.
そんな危険な火遊びを思いつく奴が敵にいるとも思えないがね。
核融合ミサイルを発射しろ。
Or a nuke. The nuke will just fucking do it.
そういうことだ。
Isn't that just the mindset, though? A single match. Fire the nuke.
敵ミサイル通過。被害なし。
どこを狙っているつもりだ。下手くそめ。
おっとっと。何を？それは上昇レバーですよ。すまない、ちょっとめまいが。
You gotta do what you gotta do to survive. See, it's what the Holland's second in command should have done.
Yeah.
我が同盟軍の損失5分の4。嘘だ。こんなことが。作戦指示を。速やかに退却せよ。全艦速やかに退却せよ。
You don't really have any ships to retreat, basically.
Also, retreat where?
作戦終了。イゼルローン要塞に。
Okay. I wasn't aware if the operation had finished here, so if they were retreating to a location in system to regroup, or I guess they're just retreating. What, somebody firing a nuke? Why doesn't that happen every combat engagement?
Because I think nukes, again, in space don't really do much damage. It does here because it is in the atmosphere, but...
今日はとりあえずラッキーで終わった。
敵に私と同じことを考える奴がいるとは。めまいを起こさなければ今頃あの世でしたね。ああ。だが私がもっと強く全艦の上昇を進言すれば他の艦も救えたかも。
I mean, you kind of did, so.
頑固な司令官としてはこれが精一杯です。それに引き換え敵は、一体誰なのだ。こんな作戦を考えられる奴は。あの白い船
So
の
it's the plan to ascend and fire a nuke?
イゼルローン要塞総司令部へ遠征部隊任務完了。入港指示願います。
ここまで来ては入れぬわけに
He's just opening a screen. It's like, bring...
いつまでそれが続くかどうか。
Doesn't look like it was luck.
I mean, it was pretty stupid. They could have just entered the system and fired a nuke into the planet, and it would just been the same thing. Because it seemed like they were leaving that the entire planet was coated in fire now. Which, to be fair,
not
unlucky.
the entire planet.
No, it looked like it, like they were leaving behind, and the entire Jupiter behind them was fireball. Which just implies that the entire thing had never been hit by anything in the past.
Yeah, I know that's not.
Well, it's just like you were saying, what would you do? And my thought at the very beginning was, I don't know, just start bombarding the planet from orbit. Doesn't seem to be a limit to how many lasers we can fire, and my thought process is the lasers are essentially heat, so it would ignite.
Yeah. Okay, the music is pretty loud. I like it, but it's pretty loud.
Well, it's the, you know, like in Star Trek 1, we're seeing the Enterprise in space dock for the first time.
Yeah.
It's one of those. In real life, there's storms all the time. Emotional ones, physical ones.
Waiting.
I like that there's no emotion from Reinhard because this is the first time he's hearing the nickname. You talking about me?
Well, the Marines were willing to salute.
Well, yeah, it's got to be a nightmare for them, though, because everyone around here is probably outranking them. This is constant.
Guess nobody walks around here. They all walk automated walkways. But then the sheer size of it, right?
Oh yeah, this is the Spaceballs joke. I actually walked here from my room. Half the movie would be over.
いやポプラ、自分だけは生き残るつもりさ。そして掛け金を独り占め。みんながそのつもりで誰も死ななきゃ勝っちまうぜ、次の戦いは。じゃあ俺はこっちにしよう。
We've met Poplin before, if you remember.
何をしてるんだい？閣下も一口いかがですか？
He's part of the squadron with Ivan, Warren, and Shikli.
で、どっちにかけるんです？どっちだろうね。さて、私は調べ物があるから。じゃ。
I don't know how much that actually is.
自分が生き残るには自信があるわな。どっちが勝つかはさっぱりわからん。
Okay, I guess one of them is viable.
天候の急変が原因であり、作戦行動に誤りがあったとは思えません。この交代を取り戻すためにも、イゼルロン要塞攻撃を続行すべきと考えます。
I still can't get over that Lobos is just fat Bocock. Sorry, my mind also drifted on just ripping things in half and going to banks all across the Alliance to turn in my half bill for a full bill. My plan to defraud the Alliance of all its money. Are you, or are you just watching something on the History Channel?
戦争の研究って言われても仕方がないのかもしれないね。結局あの惑星での敗因は天候のせいってことになりました。 戦いの勝敗は天の味方、地の利、そして神風のせいに従うものさ。戦っているのが人間であるってことを忘れてね。
I guess it's just another comparative thing. Reinhardt and Siegfried don't have to walk. These two do.
ああ、またおいでなすったか。あなたを愛する一人の女の子よりか。相変わらず減りませんね。励ましのお手紙とやらが。郵便代もただじゃない。紙だって貴重な資源だ。困るよな、ファンレターってやつは。捨てるのはかわいそうだし、始末に追えないよ。いいじゃないですか。そう嫌がらなくても。何せ、7年前のエルファシルの戦いの英雄ですからね。あなたは。
I guess, again, the thing to remember is that this came out before the main show, so a lot of this is going to be a little bit of exposition to remind you, or not remind you, to inform you.
宣伝用のタレントにしちゃギャラが安いがね。ま、私は給料分の仕事をすればいい。こんなろくでもない戦争ではね。こんなろくでもない戦争でも言うなよ。確かに私は、そう、いつの間にか考えてしまっている。この戦争の勝ち方をね。頭の固い司令官には決して。
Although this animation style really reminds me of Macross as well.
発信命令発令。今夜1800をもって。
To conquer. That's not happening.
I don't know. I think 80s style art is something I don't see that much of. Well, a lot more 90s, a lot more 2000s, a lot of 70s.
全軍をもってこれを迎撃。敵を完膚なきまで壊滅せよ。
Or don't. Seems like Isolon itself has longer range than the ships do.
なお、迎撃軍の左翼は就任早々だがラインハルト・フォン・ミューゼル大将の遠征軍に任せるものとする。
Do remember also, last episode we watched talked about the two commanders of Isolon Station having a fight with one another.
いえ、ご命令とあらば、喜んでお受けします。
まさか本気で任す気ですか？
左翼が最重要かどうか決めるのは指揮を取るこの私だよ。
Also weird you're calling it left.
Tradition, I guess.
Well, I mean, one thing it's space, meaning that you're probably going to have.
I know, yeah.
But also the element of.
I guess I do have.
Propaganda?
They have press, I guess. Propaganda.
Also civilian population? On Isolon?
I mean, it's a
also
fortress.
Brickwork?
Huge fortress.
Brickwork
Yeah, they
on
do
Isolon?
have. Yeah. Prostitutes in Isolon? Bars?
To be fair, that was also the first episode of Gaiden that we watched. That had Reinhardt in it. I mean, they had she wasn't a prostitute, she was just a civilian.
予定の行動か。予定されていないもんもある。俺たちの誰が死ぬかさ。こればっかりは予定表を見てもわからない。だから生きている予定のある今日は。
Man, Isolon is a lot more Las Vegas than I ever thought.
さあ行こうや。でも俺。ってこと生きてる今のうちさ。
No wonder everyone's always fighting over this place.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at the officers' lounge.
Yeah. The sausage party. Oh, they have billiards as they go.
最重要の左翼を守れか。
Why is the left wing the most important position?
I think it has to do with Napoleonic tactics and fleet tactics of the past. Not really, you know. It's good at this. And then he lost. And it's billiards, so.
Colloquially known as pool.
最近の写真雑誌は皇室もタブーなしかい。皇帝のお気に入り。これがある新任大将の姉君さ。確かに好きそうな女でたまんねぜ。
You guys are treading in dangerous territory.
このしわくちゃな腕の中で。
I guess I do have magazines that are
completely nonsensical. Every page of the magazine is a new hologram that is one thing. There was definitely porn in that. I saw it flash by.
俺たちの大将閣下の名誉を傷つけたガキ大将の子分どもか。
You guys have not seen him go Super Saiyan, so
yeah.
don't worry, explain the situation to Siegfried. He'll start kicking asses too.
Yeah.
I was hoping they were gonna like break the pull cues over their legs and just like jump in.
ルイヘルム中尉とウィン・ファンデンベルク少尉ですね。私は大将閣下直属のジークフリード・キルヒアイス中佐です。無駄な戦いはしないことです。戦うのは明日の敵だけでいいのですから。
は、しかし、なぜ私たちの名を我々は一階の巡洋艦乗りに過ぎませんが。
I've memorized a million people.
別に驚くことはありません。大将閣下も諸君の名はご存知ですから。大将閣下が？他の艦隊の将軍の名は忘れても、自分の将兵の名は忘れない。
Also, no response from the street of a gun going off.
その方が無駄な喧嘩はするなと言っている。あいつらは喧嘩をするほど大した相手ではないってことさ。これでいい。だからこそ強い我が艦隊だ。
This is the way. Yeah, the military police like, oh, somebody shot a gun. Who cares?
我が将兵の様子はどうか。
別に何も。
そうか。いよいよ明日だな。
ええ。明日です。
Okay.
Yeah, they gave Curtis the lifeless doll's eyes, but
I mean, they really went for the size of the scale. All those lights are ships, and yeah, huge fleets.
you really think that would mean that we were seeing them from behind, though?
Yes.
Well, they have no like light on the front. But we've seen like the ships from behind where there's like giant suns for engines.
Mm-hmm.
前進せよ。
前進。左翼艦隊前進せよ。
なぜ中央も右翼も出てこない。このままでは我が艦隊は敵の餌だ。
敵がこの餌にどう食いつくかな。
I mean, at this point, I think you should like advance full speed and then drift, turning sideways, so you approach their wing from crossing the T pattern.
しかしこのままではむざむざやられるのを待つばかりです。参謀長殿、大将閣下にはお考えがあるようです。まさかあの手を。
そう、さすが准将。
This man certainly looks like he's from an era.
Yeah, one such era.
だがそれ以外に我が艦隊を救う手があるか。
確かに。
Guess he already had a plan.
夜更かしが過ぎたか。いいから、そのままにしていろ。
You know, because we're only going right into battle.
同じ死ぬなら、寝ている間の方
Oh, to be fair though, it's fair. Might as well never know what happened to you.
Satellite view.
我々の餌になってくれようというのか。それともこれは何かの罠か。
たとえ罠だとしても餌にするにはもったいなさすぎる。あれは白い船の司令官が指揮をしている艦隊だ。もしかしたらあの艦隊が餌だとしたら帝国軍は優秀な人材を故意に消そうとしている。ということは帝国軍の中にもごちゃごちゃとした不協和音があるってことさ。
Oh, yang potty mouth.
But the fact that he says that thing happens also in the Empire, not that it happens often in the Empire, is the interesting take I have of that conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean, Vagan got sacrificed essentially by all the other escorts pulling back on him, so...
Yeah.
同盟軍全艦前進標準敵先行艦隊。敵艦隊が射程距離に入り次第攻撃を開始せよ。前方左翼艦隊の被害は考慮に入れずともよい。
What an asshole.
このままでは両方から挟み撃ちだ。
But remember also, the Muckenburgers are like the longest line of people we've seen in Gaiden so far. I think there's about 3 Muckenburgers on the board. 2 are dead. Yeah. 4 Muckenburgers. One's not named Muckenburger, but he's like the predecessor of the entire line. A telescope, yo. God, this music really, really focuses on the tenseness of approaching a battle, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely the music for the asleep guy.
敵艦隊射程距離に入ります。
砲撃用意。
今だ。全艦右に進路転換。
艦隊右へ転進。右だ。
They're doing what you said. They're gonna drift.
I guess. I thought they would have cut engines and then turned starboard. I mean, sometimes it does the same effect. It's fine. No, not what I said at all. That's in fact the stupidest thing.
敵は何を考えている。我々に腹をさらし、まるで撃ってくれと言わんばかりではないか。
Yeah, because the enemy's gonna fire at you because they don't give a shit. Then Muckenberger's just gonna fire through you because he doesn't give a shit.
何を言うか。これは敵の手だ。攻撃は次の手を見極めてからだ。
それでは間に合いません。
戦場で口出しは無用。指揮官は私だ。敵艦隊旋回。我が軍の左翼側面につかれます。
See, there's no reason this should have worked other than the fact that this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
This literally should have been Reinhardt's entire fleet gets torn to pieces in crossfire.
そんな余裕はない。何？敵の本体が目の前です。敵軍至近距離です。
攻撃開始だ。
Yeah, why weren't you firing before?
Well, because Reinhard's ship would have caught. I mean, oh, they have. Yeah,
no, Muckenberger literally said, disregard any of the left wing, fire into them. So they weren't not firing because of friendly fire.
Yeah, but they were counting on them caught in the crossfire, not firing them and being the only ones to fire the other guy.
They weren't counting on them being in the crossfire because they weren't supposed to have done what they just did.
No, because when they fired, it would be in the left flank. That flank and their ship would have focused all fire on them coming at them, right?
No, I'm saying why didn't they fire when they were going through the middle? Muckenberger was already saying shoot them anyway. It didn't matter, and there's no reason the alliance ships shouldn't have opened fire. I mean, at this point, Reinhardt's fleet has the entire ability to remaneuver. They could come up from behind them now.
Which I think is what they're going to do.
Or not even from behind, three-dimensional space. They can just on top of them or whatever. Or the side, as I said before.
Yeah. Guess of the numbers of ships that they have?
God, I just can't get over this high-octane soundtrack.
Yeah. The battle are more also in 3 dimensions. They're moving up as well as back. You know. Oh, there you go.
Nope, we're going to determine who won this battle by score.
Wow, 18,000 ships.
死者の数は敵を下回っています。問題は生存者の数ではなく戦える戦艦の数だ。艦船の消耗も現在我が方が有利です。しかし敵軍には無傷の艦隊がいます。もしあの艦隊が攻撃を開始したら我が軍の全滅は避けられません。なぜあの艦隊が我らの目前を横断したときに誰も攻撃しなかった。
Exactly. Because that idiot was like, it's a trap.
あの小僧の艦隊の数を計算すればこそだ。
しかし餌にしようとしたあの艦隊が我々のために働くでしょうか。
一度捨てた艦隊に頼るなど帝国軍人のすることではない。
それでたとえ勝てたとして責任問題は免れませんぞ。
軍人は責任を回避せぬ。あの小僧に救援は今さら頼めん。
He's still under your command, and it's a fleet under your command. You don't ask him for help, you command him.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to admit that the only way he wants to win is with his forces, right? Which is stupid, I know, but
this whole battle has been fucking stupid.
我々を助けようというのか。あの小僧騎兵隊を気取り寄って。
not what he is.
もはや一国の猶予もありません。策があるのか。少数の艦で敵の裏側へ出て、敵要塞を攻撃せんと見せかけ、その隙に本隊は撤退します。
Again, Isolon can defend itself.
誰がその任務を引き受けてくれるのだ。
私がやらせていただきましょ
う。お前はヤン・ウェンリ准将。
どうしたんです。志願するなんてらしくないな。ならなぜお前さんも志願した。ここにいても。
Also, technically, does that mean they're going to give you a ship?
たとえあの世に行くにしても、あなたの指揮の方が少し。
Because you're staffing another guy's ship right now.
Yeah.
私はちょっと落とし前をつけたいだけなんだ。落とし前？レグニッツァの時ももっと強く司令官を説得していれば、あんなに犠牲を出さずに済んだかもしれない。そしてさっきも強引にあの艦隊を攻撃させておけば、ここまでひどい結果にはならなかっただろう。
So really, these failures are your fault.
Not really. He's not in command. It's commander's fault. He's just somebody who just
Right, but he's knowledgeable, and he's not pressing that knowledge.
there's only so much a subordinate can do, basically.
Yeah, but my point is that. Yeah, what was his nickname again?
Skirt.
No, you're talking Reinhard. Yeah, he's not pressing what he knows into the person who's not listening to him. He's like, you should probably ascend right now. Shut the fuck up. Okay. You're setting up the other guy.
Shut up. He was like, shut up, I'm in charge. He wasn't getting anywhere with that.
But he didn't really try, that was my point.
I think he did.
It's the element of you're watching a kid push a fork into an electrical outlet and you're like, you shouldn't do that. Shut up.
I mean, he literally saved them by sending his friend Dusty to pull the ship
Dusty
up,
did that on his own.
Oh. Okay.
So it's really just one ship. When they said a small force, they sent one ship. Yes, they're pulling back 30,000 something ships for one ship.
Yeah, but the decoys make it look like an entire fleet. That's what he's releasing. He was releasing decoys.
Maybe they should point their telescope at it. Or, fire Thor's cannon at it.
Well, only if it's within range.
If they're worried that's attacking Isilorn, it's certainly in range.
Oh, they have been attacking Massa before and being out of range.
Whose side are you on?
The Alliance.
I mean, in the argument.
So with the Alliance.
Music is really starting to get to me now. Someone's have a hot dog in that man's mouth. Well, those ships didn't look like any ships we've seen before. I guess it's just a standard affair that every attack on Isilon is just bad.
Yeah.
Well, there's your nuke in space. I mean, it's certainly like a dance song.
Yeah.
And this is like a dance in space. How did you even get here? Like, okay, these ships have like no windows. It's the only reason I can guess why this happened.
人質だな、まるで。砲撃停止。誰も撃つな。閣下、今です。総攻撃のチャンスです。何を言う。今攻撃してみろ。敵の機関は倒せても復讐に燃えた敵艦が我々に襲いかかってくる。
I guess it's certainly an opportunity for Reinhardt and Yang to actually meet face to face.
この上にいる人を殺したくないんだ。
Because it certainly looked like they were lining up hatch to hatch, so I assumed this was going to be a boarding action. It doesn't seem to be the case, though.
No. Now the kid... Oh, no. The kid wakes up. He fires. Yeah? What's going on? Oh, that's from... Remember Gaiden when they were crossing the ships?
I mean, that's happened so many times now.
お待ちください。攻撃せよ。閣下、当艦の行動に関する限り、指揮権は将官に帰するものです。
Another mutiny.
閣下は艦隊司令官としてご自身の責務をお果たしあられたい。
悪かった。艦長の言う通りだ。この艦の指揮権は
This is my flagship. You still listen to me.
このまま前進いたします。
I almost feel like Reinhardt from a year ago would have shot him in the face.
Yeah.
速やかに退却せよ。
Then, you know, Pac-Man's still doing okay.
私にもわからない。でも私が上の人だったら何もしないだろうな。この戦いは終わったんだよ。第4次ティアマト海戦はね。
Well, I guess this was the Tiamat battle at Iserlon.
Well, it was a Tiamat engagement zone.
No, this is
in the
Iserlon
corridor. No.
No, you. Tiamat is a different star zone than Iserlon corridor. We've seen the map before in Gaiden. The Iserlon corridor is the dot here, and Tiamat, it comes off here and goes like this, away from it. You can't send a decoy to attack Iserlon and still be at Tiamat.
He slept through the entire battle. See, now... Girlfriend? Wife? Sister? Mother? No, not mother, but... Also, they have orange jumpsuits like they were, Rebel Alliance.
Well, they are the rebels.
Yeah, I know, but you know what Rebel Alliance I mean.
Right, but I'm just saying they are the rebels.
Yeah.
帝国艦隊の窮地を救ったばかりでなく、なおかつ敵の側面後方に睨みを利かせ、我が軍にほとんど完璧な勝利をもたらした。これは称賛に値するものであり、宇宙艦隊総司令官
Holy War.
そして悪逆非道な先制国家の侵略軍を撃退する者は諸君らの
Yes, that's the president.
I think that's the guy that we met during the first arc at the funeral of what's his name?
それは国民の崇高な義務の遂行であり、その前線に身を置く諸君らは民主主義擁護者の鏡なのだ。国防委員長として
Yeah, it is.
Secretary of Defense, yeah.
諸君らを誇りに思う。
Well, remember I called him out at the funeral where we only saw him in passing, but he got name dropped. That's him.
少なくともあの男、もうスカートの中の大将ではない。生意気な金髪の小僧ではあるがな。
ヤンウェンリ准将。私は少し考え違いをしていたようだ。どうかね、これや一杯。
今日はうまい紅茶を飲みたいだけです。一人でね。
fair enough.
Basically, tell him to fuck off. Basically,
Well, I
fuck
mean,
you.
I don't know. I appreciate the people who come out and say, I may have been wrong.
厄介なことになったよ、キルヒアイス。私は今まで4つのことだけを考えていた。一つはこの帝国をどうするか。もう一つは姉上のこと。そして親友のこと。さらに我が艦隊の将兵たち。だがもう一人、無視できぬ者が現れた。
I don't know. This isn't the confrontation of Yang versus Reinhardt I thought it would be. Yang essentially got his ass handed to him the entire time, and then made one good move at the end, which I don't even know how that happened. Well, I guess Alliance Intelligence is doing its job. Why would you even care what his name was? He was the guy in command of a decoy ship.
Yeah, but it was the one that robbed him out of his complete victory, right?
Well, no, they basically said he got a complete victory, even if he didn't. They gave him credit for
near.
But I still don't understand how he flew through the entire fleet to get under a ship. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. We still have a Dishonor arc to go through. And then the first movie, which is the 2 episodes.
I will say that the battle scenes in this one were far better made and more dynamic than the original, even if they didn't make any sense.
What? So fucking loud.
Oh yeah, the music I had to adjust it.
Well, no, it went up at the moment you started talking and the credits and everything. So it's like, God, that's pretty loud. Yeah, no, I'm just disappointed. Only from the aspect that I expected more of a equivalent fight. Like, Yang was not the equivalent role of command, so he couldn't affect any change. So from the perspective of being on the Alliance side, the Alliance got its ass handed to it. So by contrast, that means Yang got his ass handed to him right up until the very end, where he's like, "I'll take command of the decoy ship," and then somehow managed to avoid getting shot by the entire left-wing fleet.
Yeah,
that's what I don't understand. Maybe I just missed it, or I talked over it, or entirely possible things. But he just suddenly showed up underneath, and it's like, well, any ship could have done that then.
I watch it. I'll watch it again for notes, of course. But
yeah, I mean, it's obviously not a one and done thing.
No, but I think, ironically, even though the animation was not great, the first movie we saw, Golden Winds, I think it was more interesting. And the whole thing where they were gonna, this guy's gonna an assassination plot against, against Reinhard and all that, right? That final sequence in the fighting, they were fighting on the edge.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree.
Eastman Kodak, wow, that's...
I don't even understand why Reinhardt would consider Yang to be, an equal of any renown. The dude flew up under you. That's all he did.
I think he recognized that also he was doing the whole decoy fleet and everything else. And remember, he already noticed that there was a commander on the other side in the previous arc. He just didn't have a name.
I know, but why would you think this is the guy?
I mean, adding 2 and 2, I guess.
It's not adding 2 and 2. Literally, this guy would have been present when you, nuked everyone. So, didn't feel superior then. What did he do here? He would have been part of that fleet. That fleet fucked up the entire time. And then what happened? He just flew a ship under you. To be fair, Reinhardt fucking sucked here too. Okay, everyone, turn right and fly down the middle of both sides. Reinhardt should have fucking died here. I don't know what the fuck happened. We already know Muckenberger was more than willing to open fire on the rebel fleet in front of him and fire through Yang's ships. That was his plan. So I don't know why they didn't shoot.
Reinhardt's. Yeah.
What?
Reinhardt's, not Yang's.
Pretty sure I said Reinhardt.
Nope.
I don't fucking care. You understood what I said. And there's no reason why the rebel fleet shouldn't have fired. Which would also have gone through Reinhardt's fleet.
I mean, yeah, they should have shut down. Right. I mean, that's what he was saying. Fire now. It's like, no, it's gonna be a trap. It's like, just do it.
No, you're talking about a different scene. When he says fire now, and he has a confrontation with the captain of the ship, that's the other scene. I'm talking about earlier when the left wing is advancing, and then they make a right-hand turn, and you said, "Oh, they're doing your tactic," and they weren't doing my tactic at all. I said Muckenberger had already stated, "We're gonna fire. Just don't even matter about the left wing. Shoot them anyway." And so there's no reason Muckenberger would have fired there because he's already said just shoot the left wing.
Yeah, but I'm also saying that Yang told his commander fire, and the commander's like, it could be a trap. It's like,
no, he didn't.
Fire
Again,
now.
You're referring to a thing.
Did.
You're referring to a thing that happens 40 minutes into the thing. He's saying fire now while they're crossing paths with each other, and that's the commander says, "I'm in command of the ship. You be the fleet commander." That is something that happens like 10 to 15 minutes after the scene that I'm talking about.
It happened again. When you watch a movie, you
didn't happen the first. Oh yeah, you'll watch the movie and you'll see that you're wrong. Lessons, we do this shit all the fucking time. You know what's still going to happen, right? I'm going to go through editing, and either I'm going to say, "Oh, you're right," or I'm going to make a little clip showing you how you're wrong. So we don't have to do this here.
Okay.
There's just never a way out of it. I think you're wrong. You think I'm wrong. Well, hopefully it's entertaining for the commenters. Lessons, you need to fucking behave. I'm not the one who said it, so that's from the comment section.
Yeah. And you know what? I answered to that, right? So,
behave.
No, I did not say that. I always behave badly, but I behave.
Effectively, what I just said.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. I liked it, but
I don't think so. It was rife with a lot of dumb shit. The helium, the hydrogen helium planet that we just get into a laser battle at, and nothing happens until we launch the first nuke in the entire show, which, by the way, came out of nowhere.
I mean, I still I don't know. The problem is, I think the problem might be that we might see this being the setup for the entire series, where these kinds of maneuvers, like, oh, this is a genius maneuver. It's like, what? Yeah, this guy is brilliant. Not really.
I don't know. This should have been a 4-episode arc of Gaiden. I don't think this should have been a movie. There's been episodes of Gaiden that would have been better served episodes of Gaiden that would have been better served to have made a movie about than this.
True, but remember this was done back in 1984 or something like that. This was supposed to be the setup for the entire series, right? The pilot.
Well, we have no idea about that. We know that this came out before the show, but the idea that the show came out in the same year that this does implies that this was being made concurrently with it.
Not necessarily. You could have done this on the can.
Given the amount of time it takes for the animation to come out, I have to assume that they're both being made at the same time for maybe not simultaneous release, but released within the same year.
God, if this was supposed to be a pilot movie.
Which is the only thing... Sorry, you're the only one that's ever brought that up.
Could be.
Or it couldn't be.
What we have?
I mean, those are the possibilities.
So there you have it, the second movie to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the same boat that I think Golden Wings was better, even though it looks like worse. So
yes. So weird.
But even then, I'm not exactly super pleased with Golden Wings either, because it was a pretty basic plot.
Yeah, basically it was Death Star scenario. It's like, oh, they literally turned the Isolon into Death Star. Even though it kind of is, sort of.
All right, well, I'll throw this out there then. Which of the arcs of Gaiden that we saw would you say would have been a better idea for a movie?
I think the dual arc.
I'm not saying that the dual arc is bad. but I
It
would
has
say that
action.
it's
It
not.
has tension. Tension. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Either that
it is so
or
out
the
there as compared to all of the other arcs that it
because the other one would
wouldn't
be
be
the
representative. It wouldn't be representative
Rosen.
of the show. Also, there's no gang in that one.
Yeah, the Rosenritter arc, right? They have the battle on the planet.
The one that we just
Yang in it.
finished before last, the 100 billion stars, 100 billion lights. I mean,
before
maybe.
that. No, not that one. The one where they, they have the battle on the planet and there's tank formations and the fleet is on the ground and all that. And
I mean, you're still describing 100 billion stars, 100 billion lights.
There's no ground battle in 100 billion lights.
Yeah, it's the one that starts with the ground battle and ends with a second arc that does other stuff.
No, I think you're mixing. There's a boarding action in 100 billion lights, but there's.
I think you're confusing because you might not remember 100 billion stars, 100 billion lights is 11 episodes long.
Oh well, yeah.
That's why I just said it starts with the ground battle stuff, and then it starts with the fleet action, goes to the ground battle that also involves the Rosenritter, and then it ends with the.
Oh yeah, because we split. It's a hard to think. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
because it starts. The first one's the Battle of the Land Fleet Star Zone, then Dry Rot, Those Who Defected, Bloodshed in April, A Dangerous Man, Chronicle of the Aftermath of the Chaotic War, The Hard Wind in Early Summer, Candidate for Succeeding a Court's Family, Night of the Party, Truth is the Daughter of Time, The Sixth Battle of Iserlon, 100 Billion Stars, One Ambition. So you get 2 fleet battles, the ground battle, and a bunch of intrigue. I guess the Night of the Party would be the equivalent to the duel arc. I mean,
yeah, I think that would be more representative of all the things that you have here. Ground combat, you have the 2 sides fighting, you have the threats, political threats against Reinhardt's rise to power, all of it in one place. So yeah, that I think would be the best arc.
I don't know, you'd have to compact that pretty hard too.
You can simplify it.
I
mean, remember, this is a 59-minute movie. If you make it a full movie, a 2-hour movie, 120 minutes will be more than enough.
I mean, it's a good pick from, I agree with you in the element that you get a lot of alliance stuff and you don't get any gang, but that one Rosenritter guy is a good perspective character when it comes to the alliance. But if we were to say drop the alliance side, I would say either Silver White Valley or not the Mutineer. Maybe, no. Well, the Mutineer would be good too. And since most of the show takes place in space, I don't think I want to focus on ground stuff that much. The Mutineer was pretty good. What's the one I'm thinking of? The Retriever. I liked the episode dealing with it had political intrigue in that all these people got killed because one of them knew about the Kaiser's bloodline thing. I like the intrigue element of the Retriever, and I think that would make it a good movie. Plus, it's only 4 episodes, so putting 4 episodes together into a 90-minute thing is essentially just the thing.
Yeah.
Certainly the worst one would be Spiral Labyrinth, which is 14 episodes of just interviewing an old man.
Yeah.
Unless he took Spiral Labyrinth and just took out all the Bruce Ashby stuff and made a movie about Bruce Ashby.
Yeah, but that falls into prequelitis where you're like, oh, we're talking about these people. Okay. Is that the most interesting thing in the series? Why don't we focus on these people and their story? No, we're going to shift to other people. It's like, it's necessary information, but not enough that it would be enough to have its own story.
It sets up enough stuff that I think it is valuable. Remember, Bocock is an important character so far, and he comes from that. Iserlon Station comes from that, and we've encountered 3 fucking battles there already.
You can easily explain other ways, like, oh yeah, he served with so-and-so. Oh, he was a great known general from this. Like 5 minutes of people talking in conversation would have gotten rid of all that information, right? You didn't have to just see it. Because at the end of the day, we don't get a resolution to what happened to him, right? Maybe we get an investigation, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. If it was something like actual political intrigue, like, somebody murdered him, and that's a big scandal.
There was political intrigue.
it amounted to nothing because ultimately, what did Yang do with it? Just
I mean, it did
I'm gonna
amount to
recommend
something. Literally,
No.
no, it did amount to something because that's why Iserlon Fortress exists.
Yes, I know, but again, you could explain that like in 5 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be unsatisfactory to do that, though.
Oh, it would be fine because you're doing something else, right? You're focusing on the wrong people because again, Pricklitis is like, oh, we have all this ratings and stuff in the past. Okay, why don't we just focus the show on them? That seems interesting.
Because we're
right?
dealing with generational problems. So focusing on the past generation emphasizes what the problem is in the current generation as we encounter it, because we're moving through time sequentially. So we focus on the past for a bit, and then we encounter the problems set up by the past by the characters maneuvering through time relatively as we watch them.
As a movie, it's too much, too long, and I don't think it fits.
Literally,
your
proposition was a 2 space battle, 1 ground combat, and political intrigue movie, whereas this is literally just a series of space battles.
This could be those could be compressed into like one ground battle, 1 space battle, and make it a compression. Yeah, you can do it.
You can't. You literally can't. Because the Van Fleet Star Zone is what leads into the ground battle, so you have to keep that first space battle to explain why the ground battle is happening.
You don't have to see it. You just have to show.
I would not want to watch a movie you direct. You're like, let's get rid of all the interesting bits to compress time.
Oh, okay, come on. Guidance space battles are boring. Guidance battles are boring as hell.
Yeah, but if we're directing it, we can make the battles more interesting. We can make the space battles from before into the space battles we just watched.
Yeah.
Not to say that these were the most interesting things either. Literally, in Guidance so far, the fighter craft battles were the most interesting. And those guys, we got to see them for like half a second, and they barely got any screen time in their fighter craft.
They were more effective because the fighters didn't even get in Guidance.
No.
Hit any
in
ships.
Guidance, we actually saw them fight, and they were like taking out Imperial fighters left and right.
But they were not hitting any ships, any main ships. Here, they took out enemy ships.
I still think they were more effective and more interesting to watch in Gaiden. Here, they didn't get any screen time.
Oh, we saw them.
Yes. Compared to the 90 minutes of the movie, they may have gotten a minute, which is no screen time, essentially.
They got enough what they were needed. They got. And not to them, they showed they were effective. Part of Lego battle. That's it. This is not a carrier battle type.
It is apparently.
Show, so
it is apparently because we can see them.
Yeah, but the main focus is now the fighters.
I seriously doubt there's like 1 carrier in 30,000 ships. I said this before in a previous note section that what's probably happening is that the entire space is filled with fighters, and we just don't have the animation for it.
Most of the damage and maneuvering is done by the main ships, so the fighters are secondary at best. We have had entire battles where not even a single fighter has been launched. So yeah.
A fly just went up my nose.
Oh.
No, I saw out of the corner of my eye, I saw like a fruit fly or something, or a gnat or whatever, just like over here, and I looked over, and it's just suddenly.
Oh, gross.
Lovely.
But yeah, I really don't have anything more to say. I will have to go back and watch and make my notes and see where we go from here.
All right. Well, all that said, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?